Today's appeal is on state-space compression. To understand state-space compression, we need to understand what a high state is. Both high state and low state energy trading can carry tail end risk and may disrupt your time series analysis in different ways. Low states can be identified by having very boring derivatives. This can include a slow gamma, delta, and time decay. The payoff can still be big, but it can take decades. Low state trading would be like investing in a low risk business that's been around for decades. It's perceived to be safe, but you might miss out on other opportunities on the way. High state trading is like using complex algorithms to operate on time series analysis. But you might suffer a flash crash or sink your investments into a bad strategy. So what is high state trading? High state trading is like driving a car very fast. You start to miss all the meaningful signals, and soon all of your tiny errors add up till you finally crash. Here's another way to think about it. You haven't eaten all day, and you're starving, but there's no ready-to-eat food in the fridge. However, you have plenty of delicious ingredients. As you smell the food cooking, you get even hungrier. Every moment seems more real, and time seems to slow as you watch your meal sizzle on the pan. Each second feels like another round of torture, and time seems to pass by slower than normal. And now that you're watching this moment carefully, you notice more details in this small amount of time. Slowing time is like decompression, and decompression can have consequences too. This will have an explosive consequence in your spatial state, the effort of which will be a delicious first bite, or finding out you were so distracted that you accidentally burnt the meal. Every time you make a purchase, you are spending your money. This compresses your state space, as you now have to make every remaining dollar last longer. Each remaining dollar becomes more important to you. The consequence of this is a rapid decompression when you finally run into a bill that you cannot pay. Procrastination can also tell us about state-space compression. If you waste your time instead of doing your homework, you are compressing the amount of things you could do in your remaining time. When you compress your time signal variable space, you amplify the consequences in your spatial state. You will realize this when you have to submit a sloppy project. This is a rapid decompression of state space. If you are scuba diving deep underwater, you have to breathe compressed air. As you dive deeper, you get placed under more pressure from the water. If a scuba diver goes up too fast, they will undergo a rapid decompression. As they ascend to the surface and the pressure is released, the nitrogen gas bubbles try to exit their blood. This causes the brutally painful symptoms of decompression sickness. This is also known as the bends. This is also why the blobfish looks so weird when you see pictures of it on the surface. It has experienced a rapid decompression and got deformed as a result. Your portfolio can also get the bends if you place too large a bet in a naked short position. So which is which? Are we compressing or decompressing? Sometimes both. If you get paid by the hour, there might not be a difference. Relativity depends on perspective. Something can be a high state trade in one dimension and a low state trade in another. An effective investor must manage both at once. A house costs a great deal of money. This is a high spatial state. However, it is a low state in that it has a slowed time state. You're not going to sell it until the time is right, and you are willing to wait years to do so. However, in non-Euclidean space, things can get messy. Language can make discussing complex state space inversions very difficult. The unscientific concept of annihilation of space by time was proposed by Karl Marx decades before Einstein published his theory of relativity. Marx, not being a scientist in the Popperian sense, was incorrect in his analysis. Time-space compression was later conceptualized by David Harvey, building upon the earlier theories. David Harvey's version does better in that it replaces annihilation with the relative shrinking of a spatial or temporal dimension. Since then, there have been many advances in approaching the problem of state-space compression. Multifractal analysis, as put forth by the great mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot, looks at this problem through the lens of enthalpy. But there have been further advancements. A similar approach was conceptualized by Paul Portesi in 2019, who connected state-space compression to tail-end distributions. This episode hopes to build on his and others' advancements. Thank you.